The title of my presentation today is Give and Do All That You Can. I got this from Unit 7, specifically in this section of the Law of Consecration. Obviously, my major concept is that the law of consecration is still expected and possible in our day. And this is a core doctrine that we have. We promise to follow and observe the law of consecration as it's taught within the temple ceremony. I absolutely love how in the Law of Consecration, Stewardship, and Tithing, it's an article by Craig J. Ostler. He states that when the prophet Joseph Smith arose to address the conference in 1831, there was a conference going on. And they were talking a lot about the law of consecration, many thinking that they had to give up all that they possessed, all their earthly things. But the prophet said that he had nothing to consecrate to the Lord of the things of the earth. He didn't have a lot of physical things, but he felt that he could consecrate himself and his family. And this is a very large in importance to me, because I truly know, and everyone knows, that there are people of different means and abilities here within the earth. I love how later on in the April 2011 conference, Elder Henry B. Eyring spoke in his talk, Opportunities to Do Good. He says, when talking about the Lord and talking about serving others, he says he has invited his children to consecrate their time, their means, and themselves to join with him in serving others. I truly know that, for instance, I don't have a lot of physical things that I can get. I'm a young man in my 20s, still trying to figure out life. I don't have a lot that I can physically give, but I have some time that I'm able to give to serving others. And I have things that I'm able to donate to others as well, to show them of the love of God in which is within me. In the Saints, in the first volume of the Saints, in chapter 11, it talks about, you shall receive my law. And this law is talking about the law of consecration and what we're able to do. And then it says, quote, saints who choose to obey the law were to consecrate their property to the church by deeding it to the bishop. He would then return land and goods to them as an inheritance in Zion, according to the needs of their families. It's really speaking of, they gave everything that they possibly could. In their time, their land, their property was the most valuable thing they could have. And to give up this would have been such a large sacrifice. But as they, migrated and went to, quote, Zion, they're able to receive only that of which they needed. And as they're able to do this, they were able to help those, and there was no poor and there was no needy among them. They were able to be truly of one heart and one mind. I also love how at the beginning of Elder Neil A. Maxwell's talk, in the October 1995 talk, he starts out by saying, whenever church members speak of consecration, it should be done reverently while acknowledging that each of us comes short of the glory of God. Some of us far short. We truly need to remember that none of us are perfect, none of us are going to be perfect, and it's not possible for us to be perfect. But there's always those things that we were able to do. I love how in D&C 105 through 5 it says something of the sort, that those who have not learned to be obedient and don't give up other things, Zion won't be able to be there with them. They won't be able to be there with Zion, because in order for God to receive Zion unto himself, they have to be living the celestial law. They have to be living the law of the celestial kingdom, which is the law of consecration. As well as in D&C 42:30, it says, and behold, thou wilt remember the poor and consecrate of thy properties for their support, that which thou hast to impart unto them, with a covenant and a deed which cannot be broken. It's not saying to give up everything you have no matter what. It's saying that of which you have to impart. Of course, God knows that we still have our needs, and he's never going to tell us to go beyond that. But anything we have that we can give, we should give. As well as in the Joseph Smith papers, there is a letter from Thomas B. Marsh from 1838, and it says, in December, the Zion High Council and bishoprics held meetings to solve financial problems. And then the committee sent to talk to the members of the Zion presidency, expressing their dissatisfaction with them not teaching the law of consecration. It shows that even though it was a little bit of a newer thing, it shows just how much of an importance it was from the beginning, and why they needed to start teaching this law of consecration even early on. my two main concepts that I decided to really have be the all-end focus of this is the law of consecration has been a commandment since the day of Adam. And those living in the city of Enoch, for example, were righteous. They were of one heart and one mind because they consecrated their things and were truly united in God, as well as through consecration of our time, talents, and efforts to the things of the Lord, we will be blessed beyond measure and we will begin to be as God intended. We will be truly be blessed for giving up of our time, using our talents wisely, and doing what we can to serve others. In the end, the law of consecration is that is often talked about in the Old Testament, but sometimes is forgotten in modern revelation or in modern times. But just like baptism and tithing, we're commanded to obey this law, and it must be taught better, especially to those who are entering to the temple for the first time. I personally remember entering the temple and thinking about the law of consecration, not knowing how it was possible. But as we strive to teach those youth better of what the law of consecration is and how we can implement it more into our lives, I truly know that it'll be a commandment that will begin to thrive within our community and that people will be able to see from other sects of Christianity of the example that we're able to give of the law of consecration. Thank you.